Good morning. On behalf of the co-organizers, the Japan Center for International Exchange, JCIE, and the African Union Development Agency, AUDA-NEPAD, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you for joining the TICAD9 Thematic Event, Africa-Japan Common Vision on Health, Co-Creating Health Security and Sustainable Growth. My name is Tomoko Suzuki, serving as the MC for this event. I also served as the coordinator of the Common Vision Working Group. For this event, simultaneous interpretation is available in 3 languages, Japanese, English, and French. The main language during the event will be English, but a couple of Japanese speakers will speak in Japanese. So if you need to listen to this translation, please be sure to have an interpretation device with you. To begin our program, may I invite to the stage Ms. Satoko Ito, JCIE Managing Director, for the welcome remarks. Satoko-san, the floor is yours.
Good morning. We're still waiting for some honorable members, but let's start. Distinguished guests and panelists, on behalf of JCIE and co-organizer at AUDA-NEPAD, it is my great honor to welcome all of you to this important TICAD side event, Africa-Japan Common Vision on Health, Co-Creating Health Security and Sustainable Growth. Today, we are pleased to launch our report and policy recommendation on what we call the African-Japan Common Vision on Health. This forward-looking initiative was launched by JCIE together with our African partners and with the general support by the Gates Foundation to develop a guiding framework for Africa-Japan collaboration in health. This report is the result of the 5-month series of intensive effort by multinational working group under the leadership of Dr. Sam Cooney, and with the valuable guidance from advisors and partners, both in Africa and Japan, who are joining us today as a panelist. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all those who contributed their time and insights to this endeavor. In particular, our gratitude goes to Ms. Chimwemwe Chamdimba of AUDA-NEPAD. Without her commitment to this independent initiative at an early stage, we wouldn't have been able to achieve this success. Thank you very much. Last but not least, I would like to congratulate our JCI team headed by Tomoko Suzuki. Their tireless effort was instrumental to make this recommendation more comprehensive and inclusive. Thank you. And I hope this event will provide you with an opportunity to learn more about this common vision and explore with us how these recommendations can be translated into the real impact and sustainable impact. And today's event is just a beginning. And let us embark on this journey together to co-create health security, sustainable growth, and future of shared prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Satoko-san. Now, Honorable Duare has just arrived, so I would like to invite Honorable Aden Bar Duare, Cabinet Secretary for Health, Republic of Kenya. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Honorable Duare.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not the Honorable Minister. I am the Director General for Health. My name is Dr. Patrick Amoth. Apologies from the Minister who has joined His Excellency the President in another side meeting. On behalf of the government and the people of Kenya, I thank the organizers for this timely forum and commend Japan's enduring leadership in global health cooperation. Kenya embraces the Africa-Japan Common Vision on Health as a strategic platform to co-create long-term resilience and inclusive socio-economic growth. Through our bold reforms, we have established the Social Health Authority as a unified national health purchaser, transitioning from fragmented voluntary schemes to a mandatory prepayment model. Emergency operation centers have been established both at a national and subnational level and are working, enhancing our disease surveillance capacity, our response, and pandemic preparedness. Our investments in community health through the rollout of the Community Health Promoters Program involving more than 108,000 community health promoters spread across the country, the workforce mobility established, and the digital infrastructure that is used by the community health promoters and the facility level are already delivering results, ensuring no one is left behind. Kenya is also deploying digital health platforms, including the Kenya Health Information System, electronic medical records, electronic community health information systems, and logistic management information system to power our electronic claims, enabling real data exchange and AI-enabled diagnostics. These efforts are firmly rooted in Kenya's digital superhighway agenda and mirrors Japan's global vision of health innovation and technology-driven equity. We see an opportunity to co-develop digital solutions with Japan, particularly around disease modeling, artificial intelligence diagnostics, and climate-resilient health surveillance. Kenya is also scaling its capacity for vaccine trials by strengthening its regulatory capacity and exploring in partnership with private sector local manufacturing. We call upon Japan to support the joint research and development efforts and public-private partnerships with the Japanese pharma and medtech firms, especially in real-time diagnostics, fill and finish provision of vaccines, and packaging for the region. This is very, very important for us because as Africa, the rest of the continent, we import nearly 99% of our vaccine requirements, and we know the lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic that due to restrictions that were imposed, Africa was the last to be able to receive the diagnostics, the medical countermeasures, and the vaccines. And we need to be able to change that so that we can be able to ensure global health security. We are also working through bilateral and multilateral models like the Kenya-Japan MDBs. We can de-risk early stage innovation and ensure sustainability. We offer our social health authority implementation and community health model as a template for South-to-South knowledge exchange. We invite Japan to co-establish a workforce exchange program, linking our regional training hubs with Japanese expertise in disease control and service delivery. This will strengthen our human resource base and promote technical self-reliance across the continent. We also appeal to Japan to provide technical and catalytic grants to Social Health Authority, the digital integration platform, to help us develop health IDs and operationalize fully the emergency operation centers at the subnational level. In terms of our discussions here in the TICAD9, we want to institutionalize an Africa-Japan strategic health innovation dialogue with Kenya and the rest of the African countries as the lead as we journey towards the SDG 2030. The future of health, ladies and gentlemen, is shared. Climate threats and pandemics and economic disruptions know no borders, and therefore this is the right time for solidarity instead of nationalism. Let this event reaffirm our collective commitment to building resilient systems powered by data and science, partnerships, and African leadership. Together we can move from donor dependence to co-investment, co-creation of solutions or interventions, and co-ownership of Africa's health future. As I conclude, I want to reiterate that Kenya stands ready to deepen its strategic partnership with Japan, anchored on mutual respect, regional leadership, and innovation for the impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much for showing Kenyan national strong commitment to health and global health. We had planned to have Minister Abe give special remarks here, but she is running late due to another commitment. So due to time constraints, I would like to have Dr. Okumi Balogun, Junior Associate Professor, St. Luke's International University, Graduate School of Public Health, make a presentation on the key messages of Common Vision. She served the lead co-author of the working group.
Thank you. Thank you, Tomoko. Okay, so in this presentation, I will share the key messages and priority areas identified by the Africa and Japan Common Vision Working Group. So why the Common Vision? The purpose of the Common Vision was to jointly respond to evolving challenges and seize emerging opportunities to build a shared forward-looking agenda for Africa-Japan collaboration. And in that process, the vision was co-created by public-private platform, including African and Japanese stakeholders, and we had stakeholder consultations and experts' input, and all of these were aligned with national priorities. The vision promotes respectful and equitable partnership, long-term commitment and mutual trust, co-creation and shared responsibility, mutual learning and growth, and inclusive and accountable governance. So in the next few slides, I will focus entirely on the key messages and proposed actions that we came up with. So the vision lays out the following co-created future-facing health agenda for mutual prosperity, which Africa and Japan should commit to and work together to achieve through institutionalized dialogue forums based on the Africa Health and Wellbeing Initiative and regular TICAD monitoring. So these are the 5 priority areas: sustainable health financing, data and diagnostic capacities, integrated and digitalized primary and preventive care, co-led research and technology innovations, PPPR, and health system resilience. I will touch briefly on each of these priority areas subsequently. So in the first, strengthen sustainable health financing and resource mobilization. The goal is to strengthen domestic health financing through policy dialogues, the UHC knowledge hub, and promotion of innovative mechanisms. As Africa experiences a growing shift towards local ownership of health agendas, the Common Vision recognizes and highlights opportunities to support innovative financing and increased investment in health. For instance, through implementing strategies outlined in frameworks such as the Africa Health Financing in a New Era, the Lusaka Agenda, and the Accra Compact. Also highlighted are opportunities for private sector investment from Japan in scalable solutions in PHC diagnostics, digital health, and local pharmaceutical manufacturing in Africa, while encouraging private sector to expand essential service delivery. It is also crucial to strengthen governance and regulatory safeguards. Second priority area is advancing diagnostic human resource capacities and health data systems. This calls for increasing investment in testing and diagnostics and deepen collaboration to strengthen systems and capacities for collecting, analyzing, and sharing health data as the data infrastructure for UHC, health security and research and development. For example, in the area of cross-border infectious disease surveillance and control, Africa CDC and the Japan Institute for Health Security should explore possibility of a partnership to develop real-time cross-border disease surveillance systems using genomic sequencing and AI-driven analytics to forecast disease outbreaks, track antimicrobial resistance patterns, and model climate change impacts on vector-borne diseases. Strengthening surveillance system, of course, would benefit both the African continent and Japan. The third priority area identified is to promote integrated and digitalized primary and preventive health care. This calls for prioritizing preventive measures and promote a healthy life course through people-centered approaches while integrating services in primary health care and embedding NCD services by strengthening community systems. The strong traditions of community engagement in African communities provide opportunities to scale up context-specific community health worker programs and provide continuum of care across the life course in Africa. This partnership also provides unique opportunities for mutual learning among African and Japanese CSOs and local municipalities on community systems strengthening, for example, through site visits coordinated by both sides CSOs on occasions of TICAD such as this. Creating a high-level forum dedicated to NCD prevention and control under the auspices of TICAD, which helps African countries to form the inclusive coordinated bodies essential for comprehensive NCD prevention and control strategies. Japan could also share, through such forum, experiences which offers valuable insights for municipal and community engagement and standardized tools adapted to local contexts. The fourth priority area is to accelerate co-led research and product development. This calls for promoting research and development, encouraging shared ownership and technology transfer, and to create a seamless ecosystem to support collaboration while noting the policy shift towards local manufacturing across the entire spectrum of health products. To co-create solutions for health, for example, an actionable plan could be to strengthen the integrated research collaboration and network expansion under frameworks like SATREPS and AMED programs, and link the collaborations with global partners such as DNDi and GHIT. Another example for joint R&D is the co-development of point-of-care diagnostic tools to enable rapid detection of infectious disease and NCD at community level in Africa. The final priority area that we identified is to foster collaborative environments to enhance pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response in order to enhance pandemic preparedness, and opportunities exist for both Africa and Japan in this area as well. In conclusion, the Africa-Japan Common Vision on Health offers a bold and actionable framework for redefining health as a cornerstone for mutual growth, health security, and sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I'm pleased to invite Honorable Toshiko Abe, member of the House of Representatives, and now she is serving as the Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology. Please give her a big applause.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Toshiko Abe, the Minister of the Education, Sports, Culture, and Science and Technology. Thank you for the attending this meeting. As the Ministry of Education, we're going to support you all. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Now let us begin the panel discussion. While our colleagues are rearranging the setup of the stage, may I ask the moderator and the panelists to take their seats on the stage. Serving as moderator is Dr. Osamu Kunii. He is CEO and Executive Director of GHIT Fund and served as the chair of the Common Vision Working Group. From the left, Professor William Ampofo, Executive Director of the African Vaccine Manufacturing Initiative. Dr. Maguda Robalo, Co-Chair of the UHC 2030 Steering Committee and President of the Institute for Global Health and Development, Guinea-Bissau. And Dr. Salim Abdul Karim, Director of the Center for the AIDS Program of Research in South Africa, CAPRISA. And then Ms. Takuko Sawada, Director and Vice Chairperson of Shionogi and Company and Limited. Dr. Amit Thakab, Executive Chairman of Africa Health Business. And then Mr. Whitson Lakel Almayu, Liaison Manager to the African Union Commission, Waki Health, and Coordinator of the African Civil Society Platform for Health, CISFA. They are all contributed to the common vision as advisor. Now I would like to hand the microphone over to the moderator, Dr. Kunii, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay, so actually, when I was asked to chair this, common vision, to develop this common vision, I said I don't want to have just a document for the purpose of document, because everyone knows a lot of kind of a generic things. UHC is important, Africa, Japan, co-creations, very important. Everyone knows. Usually, kind of big things to do, we really need to start with why. But we know why we are here, right? So next is what. So this time of this common vision, we just try to find the priority. What kind of things, what we really need to work for, and what matter. And next, how. Because usually, there are a lot of strategies, very good strategies, and including what, but sometimes not how. So especially when I was working in a global fund, for example, human right, gender, community. Everyone knows that the importance of this community, human rights, gender. But how is always not talking a lot and in detail. That's why sometimes it is very slow moving. So this time, I already asked that all the panelists just avoid just generic talk. Yeah? But we have today, these panelists are really great specialists, professional, and really kind of forefront runner. So from their own role and function, just please tell very much pragmatic things, actionable things, so that we can just follow up. And this document is not the perfect one, okay? This is a working document. There are a lot of, especially, some of the lacking kind of things. But just okay, it is working. So we just try to include whatever we need, and we need to map out all kind of a detail and landscape analysis and other things also very, very critical. And there are some issues, for example, NCD. Everyone knows the importance of NCD, but we do not have any real work or real efforts. So how to just initiate those? So those are also quite important things that are included, okay? Okay, so first I want to make the very, very interactive. So first I just give one first question to all of them, and later we can have a follow-up, discussion, interaction. I usually don't like a kind of a script. So maybe they prepared something, but today morning I told them just avoid generic things. So maybe they are now thinking what to say. Okay, so first, initial kind of question is, in this common vision already you have gone through, so what are the quite important points in this, for your perspective? And also, what kind of challenges you feel and how to overcome, and how to make these, that whatever you feel important, actionable, and implement those kind of, the concrete idea I want to hear from you. Okay, so allow me to call that the first name, okay? So William, maybe first.
Thank you. I thought you were going to do ladies first and ask Magda to speak. Magda, should I put you on the spot and give you the microphone?
I think I have a microphone.
Okay. So Magda will speak. Then I want to recover first from his telling me not to use my prepared lines and to think out of the box.
Thank you for ambushing me, William. Thank you. Good morning. And first of all, I would like to thank JCIE for inviting me for this important conversation, and to also include my opinions and views together with other advisors on the living document, as you have just said. To me, the first point on the Africa-Japan agenda is probably the most important because it underpins everything else. Sustainable financing. I think sustainable health financing is something that we collectively needs to work together on to be able to achieve universal health coverage with equity, and also to be able to do the following points in the ACRA agenda. How do we do that? I think you mentioned, the document also mentioned several initiatives. The most recent born is the ACRA initiative led by President Mahama of the Republic of Ghana, which looks into Africa health sovereignty. We have the Lusaka agenda that has indicated clearly how global health initiatives and countries should work together to align priorities with available resources. And Africa CDC also has a document that talks about sustainable health financing. So prioritizing resource mobilization from the countries, progressive taxation is going to be critical, but more than just adding taxes to what citizens are already paying is to improve collection of taxes. We know that low and middle income countries, particularly in Africa, still have room to collect taxes from the already existing taxes, but also certainly some countries will benefit from adding sin taxes, etc. And we need to look into the way we allocate resources, the way we efficiently use resources, so that equity can be spread and we reduce out-of-pocket payments to avoid impoverishing people. But for us to implement this agenda, really the first most important point is to work hard on sustainable health financing.
Thank you very much. Okay. Salim? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. Minister Abe and Professor Takumi, it's a great honor to be here at this JCIE event. I think when I looked at the 5 principles, every one of them resonated for me. They are important, they are essential, but the one that stood out most for me as somebody who has, over the last 2 decades, engaged in many partnerships between African scientists and scientists from throughout the world, the one that resonated was the one about respectful partnerships, respectful and equitable partnerships. Too often, as Africans, we are going out with our hands looking for funding, and too often, he who pays the piper calls the tune. But this document is setting a different tone. It is specifically bringing to the fore this important concept of equitable and respectful partnerships. And I believe that that is a good basis to move forward. If I had to prioritize one of the actions that were so well laid out, I would pick on the point that was made by the Honorable Director General of Kenya, which is that there is a low-hanging fruit opportunity for Japan and several African countries to work together in the area of digital health. And when you think about the list of 5, whether it's digitalized primary care, or whether it's on data analytics, or whether it's on research, or the public health, the pandemic response preparation, all of those require data. All of those require us to have good digital health systems. And Africa has been plagued with 3 key problems. The first is the high startup costs involved in establishing digital frameworks. The second is that we actually have poor coverage and unreliable internet in many parts of Africa. And the third is we're always concerned that we'll set up all these digital systems and they become a white elephant because the population is not educated, not aware of how to use those systems. Well, we have learned from country after country that has made the leap into digital health that all of those problems can be dealt with. There are solutions we can draw upon for all of them. Let's just take the challenge we have of the elderly not being familiar with digital health systems. Actually, several countries have fixed that problem through what is now referred to as digital Sherpas. These are individuals, largely younger people, creating employment for younger people, who work in the healthcare system, and their sole job is to help people navigate the digital divide, help them understand and work with the digital platforms so that they can become competent themselves on their next visit. So I believe that this is an opportunity for Africa and Japan to work together in an area where there's a great need and a huge capacity to address that challenge of digital health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Takako.
Good morning. My name is Toko Sawada, and I am in a somewhat different position from other panelists because I'm working for a pharmaceutical company in Japan, and our company is still focusing on infectious diseases. In the past, we partnered with Big Pharma in developing HIV products such as dolutegravir or cabotegravir. And we provided these products through VIV Healthcare or Medicines Patent Pool or Global Fund. However, now we have antimicrobial resistant treatment, Cefidioco antibiotics, and it is listed as a reserve antibiotic in the WHO Essential Medicines list. And now we are starting to bring these products to African countries in collaboration with GADP and Clinton healthcare initiatives. But we are facing so many challenges here. So from our experiences, I'd like to echo to your opinion that these elements are all really important and connected each other, linked to each other. But basically, good partnership would be a key to proceed. And not only one-on-one partnership would not be sufficient. Because when we conducted some investigation in African hospitals, whether infectious disease doctors want to prescribe our product to what kind of patients, in what kind of situation. In that case, they like to prescribe our product empirically. And it would not be a good approach for our product because it will increase the opportunity to create new resistant bacteria. Therefore, we definitely need to educate medical staffs and create guidelines, and we need to discuss with the government, and I really appreciate the support from Ministry of Health in Kenya, because if we deliver our product broadly in the country, then so many medical doctors can prescribe that product empirically and create new resistance. But in Kenya, we are going to start phased approach in these countries, and initially we started very selected, highly educated hospitals, and would like to monitor how they will use our product. And after discussion or cooperation with the government, we will be able to consider what kind of approach would be better afterwards. So this kind of collaboration would be really important, and we need to expand this network further. And for us, it is not so clear what organization is doing what. So it is really difficult for us to move forward because we don't know the most appropriate organization which we have to discuss or negotiate. So this kind of map is available. It would be really of help.
Thank you very much. So next, Amit. Yeah, Amit. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy I'm sitting next to her because I'll give her my card. It's the appropriate organization. We want to partner at Africa Health Business. Our mission is to partner with everybody who wants to grow the private sector collaboration in Africa. We work with governments, we work with NGOs, we work with civil society to create that bridge. Today, I think this particular common vision that is here, I want to thank JCIE. I want to also thank all the collaborators of JCIE. I'm so happy that my colleagues from the Ministry of Health from Kenya are here. I met the colleagues from Zimbabwe. I met the colleagues from Ghana. I've seen Nigeria. But earlier, and also South Africa, earlier when Bola presented the vision, I think she showed us 5 by 5. You all read the 5 principles. I think these 5 principles, like Salim mentioned, respectful, action-oriented partnership, where we are equal on the table. One is not less than other, is coming out clearly today. I think that's clear. We want to learn from each other. The second thing that came out is the 5 priority areas. And these 5 priority areas are 3 by 2. I'll tell you the 3 most important and the 2 that are overarching. The 3, like Magda said, the first one is financing. The second one is around maybe data and giving us more knowledge around that space. And the third one is on preventive healthcare and primary healthcare and diagnostics. I think these three are critical right now. If we had to really give us double down on priority, I would say primary healthcare, digital, data, and financing. The other two that came out to this morning was around clinical trials, like you mentioned, and long-term trying to be the forerunner in making vaccines, like how our DG from Kenya mentioned, 99% are coming from outside. We need to have clinical trials, testing, appropriate structures so that we can be proud of making in Africa. And the fifth one was about the PPPR, pandemic preparedness and prevention, which we have all realized from COVID that if you are not on the table, you're on the menu. So there are many things we need to start making in Africa, and Japan can help us. At least 30 to 40% of what we bring inside Africa, we can make in Africa. We cannot make everything. And let's be real. So that was really, Osamu, your first question. What stood out for me? The second one is challenges. And I want to really jump on what Magda started earlier and financing. To me, the biggest elephant in the room is the financing. If we get the financing correct from start now, word go. 5 years later, 6 years later, we'll see results. I think taxes are clear. We have to collect taxes. We have to find a mechanism of also finding those who are missing the tax bracket to pay the tax bracket, and make the Minister of Finance, who I met earlier today, of Zimbabwe, can you allocate greater budgets to health? And they think it's quite a waste of time. They don't understand that health will pay dividends. And they're not clear whether the dividends is today or it's going to be 30, 40 years ago. And politics does not have patience. And politicians are always impatient about the next cycle of election, therefore affecting health. Everything we discuss here gets a little bit affected by politics, which interferes with policy. And everybody from government and private sector must stop that. No longer will we allow politics to get involved in policy because it affects the health of people. It's a biggest declining factor. Collecting taxes is one thing, but how the taxes are used is something else. Imagine if half the taxes are not being used properly. We also must stop that. Why do you collect double when half of it is wasted? If we didn't waste the tax money that we already collect, we will produce double the healthcare that we are producing. We would have added many more years of life expectancy. So my Osamu point is that healthcare financing is critical. We must collect more. We must get more money for health, but eventually more health for the money in order for us to produce a better Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Fitu.
May I give the floor to Prof? Then I come. Is that okay?
Can you use this one?
May I give it to Professor before I come in?
You can use it. You want first? Or Fitu?
Okay. I was waiting for you to speak, so I have the last input. Because I realized that since 2012, I've been talking about making vaccines in Africa. The last time I tried it at the African Union, I was told that we have more urgent priorities. Fast forward COVID-19 and the whole issue of not having enough vaccines across the world, and Africa being the last to get vaccines, made it very different. So now, the Africa CDC, AUDA-NEPAD, manufacturing is a top priority for us in Africa now. We're even talking about pool procurement to ensure that what we make in Africa, we will ensure that we will buy and use in Africa to prop up our economy. So I think that speaking last has now become very important, because when you speak first, you get overshadowed by all the other things. And Magda and Salim and co have put it very correctly. when I heard the challenges from Shionogi and Amit's point about making sure that the policy and the politics go together. DG, you are here. You can vote the budget. The manufacturer will make the stuff. But if he has high taxes, if you don't buy what he makes, it's not going to be sustainable. So we've talked and talked in Africa now, but now is the time for action. We realize that such a common vision, working together with Japanese colleagues. And the other point I want to emphasize is the human resource. We don't know how to make vaccines. We don't know how to make biosimilars. We don't know how to make cancer drugs in Africa. So people like me who studied in Japan, I think the human capacity building effort by JICA, the Ministry of Education, Madame Hascon Mombusho, has really helped us and made an impact for us in Africa. And that's one thing that this common vision on health can build upon. We can and must use the human resource strategically to implement the programs that we are talking about. Yes, we can get the financing, but we need the people to be able to implement the programs. We want to manufacture vaccines, we want to make diagnostics. We must have the know-how to be able to implement and utilize the equipment. We must adopt the technology, as Salim pointed out, but we must know how to use these new tools, this digital stuff, AI, etc. So I think that the human resource is really critical and must be part of the program, and then we'll be able to implement things going forward. So Simon, that's my point, and I'll hand over to you back.
Peter.
Thank you very much. From the common vision, what really stood out as a civil society advocate is the sustainable health financing bit. And I'm very glad that also most of the speakers here also alluded to that fact. Usually, there is that thinking in civil society, especially if we get it right around the financing aspect, then it's also easier to get it right in other areas, in the regional manufacturing agenda, in primary healthcare, everything. Because we're talking about affordability, we're talking about accessibility, we're talking about also the manufacturing bit as well when we're talking about finances. And very much it also reflects on the political will, as Dr. Amit mentioned, which patients is not really that available within that space. So within this common vision, we are also very much excited to learn from the UHC Knowledge Hub. We believe there will be a lot of experience sharing from the wealth of Japan's experience in universal health coverage. That goes for civil society, that goes for government, and that goes also to the service providers. And also that also includes the private sector on how they can support a better medical services to communities and at large in terms of also making sure there is accessibility. Within that, I would also like to touch on the Lusaka agenda, which has been mentioned in the document, which we are very glad, and the future of global health institutions. For us as civil society, the Lusaka agenda interpretation is not common across all stakeholders. That's what we have observed. Although it is a bit unfortunate, for some it's sounds like it's more of a code word for retreat, for international solidarity, for the multilateral principles. And again, there should be patience in this approach as well, because yes, we need sustainable financing, we need the finances to be more reliant on domestic resources. However, there should be a transition period which also requires a very great deal of patience, and with that also communities are a bit skeptical on how this should be implemented. We are very much looking on how the champion countries are going to implement the Lusaka agenda, and we are very much also supporting that process in general. Innovation should apply across all the different 5 principles. And that's why I think we are co-creating, because we need innovation in every aspect. Just to mention one, some of the financial commitments we have on the continent. We have the Abuja 15% declaration, which is over 20 years old policy commitment. Looking at the Africa scorecard on domestic financing for health, we only have one country, if I'm correct, that has attained that commitment. Of course, throughout the years, there was up and downs. There were times where we had 3 countries, 4 countries. We have seen progress, and according to the Africa scorecard, again, there are around 11 countries who are making progress towards that policy provision. But for us, the point is that we shouldn't be shy to come back to the drawing board and adjust some policy recommendations, to relook at the policy indicators that we have kept. 20-year-old policy should not be guiding us with the current challenges that we're facing. So part of the co-creation should be also for us not to be shy to come to the drawing board if we need to revise our policies. Dr. Amit mentioned about the efficiency gains. We collect taxes. It's not enough, yes, but even the amounts that we're collecting, is it efficient enough? And how do we measure efficiency for that as well? So we need more of a coordinated approach where we have private sector, development partners, and also civil society who are learning that. There is this famous saying that really is stuck with me. It says, the best way to predict tomorrow is to invent it. And us sitting here talking about the common vision for tomorrow is we're trying to invent the tomorrow that we want. And the best way to predict it is to make sure that we put all the dots together. In terms of the challenges, I would like to talk about access and affordability, which has been also mentioned in terms of providing regional manufacturing capacity on the continent. Of course, the death issue should also very much be part of this picture. When we're talking about sustainability, and with over $90 billion that we paid in Africa last year just for debt servicing, I think there should be a serious conversation around death. And Dr. Amit actually was mentioning about a 0% concessional loan just earlier. That's the best deal that we can get, and I would like even Dr. Amit to further explain on that. And also civic engagement. There should be a very robust civic engagement. Really glad to see there is a civil society pool fund on the common vision. However, it should go beyond the funding. It should go beyond the funding. And we need to take responsibilities as civil society, and we need also to be very much critical on our advocacy moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you record this? Because there are a lot of very important kind of suggestion and content, so please just take a note. Okay, thank you very much. Very good first round of talk. Actually, I want to make this a much deeper dive, especially, that thinking Japanese comparative advantage and also Japanese resources. What kind of pragmatic kind of action or suggestion you have? For example, maybe first I want to ask Magda. You talked about sustainability financing, and under the leadership of Professor Takemi, we are going to set up that UHC hub. So, what is your expectation and more kind of pragmatic expectation and suggestion to that?
Thank you for that question on the UHC hub, and I wanted to salute Professor Takemi for his leadership around establishing the Universal Health Coverage Hub in collaboration between the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Finance. But before I go there, I wanted to mention two important things that we need to bear in mind. The DG from Kenya mentioned South-South cooperation when he was addressing us. And that's an important, valuable mechanism that we need to explore more than we have been doing. South-South within Africa, South-South across low and middle income countries, and then global North collaboration, which brings me to an important word that came out of the Accra initiative, which is co-creation. It is not that we are going to be on isolation to implement the common vision and to achieve sustainable health financing and do the things that we need to do. We need to work in co-creation, in respectful partnerships, global North and global South together. And the UHC hub that is going to be launched this December is one good example of how global North and global South can work together. Japan achieved universal health coverage in 1961. I wasn't born. And they have a lot to share with the rest of the world. So the establishment of this lab is going to be a landmark innovation, because it is going to bring together capacity building for so much needed reforms in our countries in order to achieve universal health coverage. Everything we are talking about, manufacturing, data, digitalizing, has one goal: giving everyone access to quality health care equitably and without financial hardship. So all that we are doing is for people to enjoy good health, live long lives like Japanese are enjoying, and then be able to not become poor because of health costs. Congratulations to Japan on this great initiative, and we look forward to collaborating, continue collaborating with you and those countries that will be involved in the first cohort, and move forward on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Magda. Okay, so related to this financing, I want to ask Fitum, okay? Because, in the past, the civil societies and NGOs have a very strong power over advocacy, especially mobilizing resources from government, right? So even Japanese, the NGOs like Inaba-san, also strong push. But maybe next time we also want to get your the civil society's power to mobilize other resources, not just only government, but maybe private sectors or other, development banks, etc. So do you have any suggestion, especially working with the Japanese civil societies?
Thank you very much. I would like to borrow Dr. Amit's point on the investment case for health. Usually the investment case for health is not a short-term return that we get from health investments. And as Dr. Amit mentioned, that for politicians, it's very hard to come up with that investment case to gain their political leadership solid on health issues. So, building that investment case is very important to first, and making sure that with that return, because a healthy society can go and vote, a healthy society can go to the farm, a healthy society can go and to the school and any area. Unless we are healthy, there is nothing to start with. So really, we need to bring that into the picture. The other part would be, in terms of within the co-creation agenda, it's very much important to have a civil society collaboration with the Japan civil society and also African society. Why I am mentioning that, we both have our comparative advantages. As civil societies in Africa, we have a lot of advocacy experience in terms of asking for the right resources, the right people. And within the Japanese society, there is also a rich experience in practicing the civic engagement, the practices, and also understanding the overall universal health coverage spaces. So we need to really come up with a periodic engagement that has a review process of these different policies that brings together civil society, communities, future FGH, like global health institutions, and also the private sector. The efficiency in the private sector should also be something that we need to borrow in our day-to-day activities, because there is value for money in the private sector. I'm not saying there is no value for money in public sector, but the efficiency at the private sector is much more advanced than we have experienced in public sectors. So we need to capitalize on the different comparative advantages that we have, and I believe civil society is the bridge between the private sector and the public sector. We can really create that demand and make sure that we bring everybody on board. So we need to regroup as Japanese and African civil society. We need to understand our comparative advantages. We need to understand our circle of influences. Then from there, we need also to have a periodic progress revision on the different things that we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so next I also want to take the topic of research development, access and delivery, all kind of end-to-end, ecosystem, right? So these are very, very important issues. So first I want to ask Salim, because we have Professor Ishii and other people, so you can have a better collaboration between Japan and Africa. As you know, that the Japanese kind of comparative advantage is one. The basic science quite good. Yeah, still quite good budget for basic science, and maybe a bit kind of a little weak in terms of clinical trials. We don't have a real good network of clinical trial, especially when the next pandemic or emerging disease comes. So maybe this is the kind of area we really need to seek, and also a kind of a development of real products. Yeah, and I feel nowadays that a good advantage in Japan is diagnostics. Good, very good, technologies they have, but they are shy to go up beyond that border. So how to just, encourage Japanese, those industries and other technologies to do. So first, I want to get your opinion, and from other Taco and William and others. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. When we think about research and the enterprise of generating new knowledge, in many ways it epitomizes the need for us to look beyond our country's borders. In many ways, research is a global enterprise, and part of the reason for that is that knowledge does not respect the boundaries of our individual countries. It goes universal, and the ability to use that knowledge to generate new concepts, new ideas, is a global phenomenon. And so those research organizations that have seen fit to draw upon the best that is available across the world as those that are most succeeding. And I believe that when we look at the capacities that exist already in Japan and capacities that already exist in terms of clinical trial networks, in terms of investigators on the ground in the hospitals and clinics in Africa, I think we have the potential for amazing partnerships to fast-track the kinds of diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines that we are talking about. But that won't just happen. These kinds of marriages don't happen because they happen to bump into each other. There has to be a bit of matchmaking that's done. There needs to be a process that actively brings players together, players that would benefit from each other's strengths, where the win-win solutions become the clear objective. And I think that under this umbrella, we have that opportunity to do that matchmaking, to make those partnerships real and to bring them to the fore and enable them to happen. Whether they're in drug development or in digitalization or in financing, it doesn't matter. What's needed is that process of enabling people to find each other where they would both benefit from those partnerships.
Thank you very much. Takako-san.
Thank you. And currently in Japan, I'm involved in a kind of discussion. What kind of research and development should be considered in the area of infectious diseases, considering the future pandemic or other currently increasing infections? And in these discussions, we'll also confirm that even in Japan, we don't know which technology is researched in which university or in which institutions. And even in case of government-sponsored programs, these informations are not shared with each other. So it would be necessary for us to understand what kind of technologies or seeds we have, and this kind of technology or seeds, how we can utilize these to fit infectious diseases. This kind of mapping will help us collaborate with each other, because if it is transparent and it is shared, certainly African countries can easily approach to access to this information and easily to identify the partner who you want.
Thank you. William?
I think that has been a very important point. For us, with the African Vaccine Manufacturing Initiative, one of the big challenges is technology transfer arrangements. Now, these tend to be bilaterals between the receiver and the giver. And, these are intellectual property. And also, these technologies are not just transferable like your grandmother's recipe for making ramen. You need to be able to do this repeatedly because you have the regulator looking over your shoulder, ensuring that the product you're making is exactly the same, is safe, and is going to be effective in inducing the immune response if it's a vaccine or if it's a drug. So we found that R&D, which has been a long-term investment by big pharma in the developed countries, is not an easily transferable product to us in the developing countries. So we have to find an innovative, beneficial package that enables companies in Africa and Japan to seek a common benefit. And I think that if we look in the Common Vision document, you will see that the market in Africa by 2040 will be about 25% of the world's population. We need to look at long-term investment and see that actually, investing in R&D partnerships now, where we have tech transfer, will enable the companies now to actually be part of the African market, especially because we're looking at pool procurement. So the African Vaccine Manufacturing Initiative provides a linkage where we can discuss, we can engage, and we can utilize something that the Africa CDC has already started. It's doing internships, trying to place young people who will learn these skills, but they will be bonded to these institutions and ensure that there is IP maintained. And then also, at the same time, we are building our regulatory capacity, AUDA-NEPAD, we are setting up AMA, and ensuring that we have comparable standards in Africa which match, maintain, and are equivalent to the WHO PQ systems that the world has come to accept, and therefore ensure that even in the trade systems across the Africa Free Trade continental area, we will be able to, as Magda said, move products across Africa, within Africa, and even maybe think of start exporting from Africa, maybe export from Africa to Japan. You've seen a red chocolate in Ghana made by Lotte. It's called Ghana. It's because our cocoa is the best in the world. So I always travel with Ghana chocolate because I want to show that if you can eat our chocolate, then we should be able to make vaccines that you should be able to use when you come to Africa. When you come to Africa, you have to take a yellow fever vaccine. That yellow fever vaccine, the first strains were being made in Senegal, in the Institute of Pasteur. And that strain, I think there was work that was done in Ghana. The yellow fever 17D strain was one of those that WHO pre-qualified for Senegal. So this shows that R&D actually started a long time ago between, scientists, not just in Africa, but across the world. And as she said, the appropriate technology platforms are what we need to discuss. You can't just switch from making routine flu vaccine to pandemic vaccine overnight. We saw that with COVID-19. Petra is here. We have the Afrigen network for mRNA technology. And so we're very excited that in Africa, we're able to now understand, we are learning how to use these platforms. We're looking at acquiring the equipment. We're not going to create them from scratch. No, we're going to adopt them and see how we can use them within the African context, where we have a lot of infectious diseases, emerging, re-emerging. I think Ghana has had about 5 outbreaks of Lassa, Marburg, what's the other one, dengue, within the past 5 years. We even have Mpox, currently. So I was happy to hear that, Africa CD is trying to look at Mpox. And Mpox is made by a Japanese company now. The vaccine is made by... So we have to find those practical examples where we can use this Africa-Japan common vision and build on it and see that the politicians will see that they can show our people that there is benefit in the partnership, and then we can take this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I can have one or two question or comments from floor. And before that, I just want to ask Amit to take.
Yeah, sure. I think TICAD 10 and TICAD 11 will be important for all of us. Everyone here is doing some amazing work in healthcare. So I want to literally say for Ms. Ito and Ms. Tomoko and Chimemwe, let's make this vision accountable. So we move beyond talk to action. At TICAD 10, Osamu, I'd like to show a scorecard before you start this panel again. A scorecard to show what percent progress did we make in each one of the 5 priority areas. And it's okay if some we did better than the others, but many here are partners who would like to work on a common vision for Japan and Africa. You're either part of leaning towards Africa, a lot of your work, or you're leaning a lot of your work in Japan. But through your support and through our formalization, Ms. Ito, let's present a scorecard next TICAD 10 on each 5 of the parameters. It includes PPPR, it includes research, diagnostics, digital, everything. The second one, when we come back to Yokohama on TICAD 11, we shall give and be answerable to all the stakeholders who are here. So Chimwebe, let's formalize this. And by the way, there are many partners who are not here in this room. There are many, many partners not in this room already working on the field and doing some amazing work. We need to bring them to us so that we start tracking the progress, each priority area one by one. So I'd like to say that the health working group, Bola, that you presented the 5x5 matrix very well. The health working group with JCIE becomes completely organized with a mix of Japan and Africa, scholars, collaborators, and we are answerable to the progress for 6 years. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We don't have enough time, but can I ask Professor Ishii to give comments, or maybe comments is better? Yeah.
No, thank you very much. And probably I was expecting the Osamu to start dancing here for celebrating this meeting, and I would really love to see again with your commitment with probably more children for the future. So only thing that I would like to add on this comment is what we need for the best investment for global health or UHC is actually education. And I see Africa, Japan, without any other intermittent community, we can work on this education from the children to become all these entrepreneurs and beautiful politicians and policy makers, as well as the researchers. So I would like to see next time with a lot of people with the children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How many minutes more do we have? How many minutes more? Yeah, 3 minutes only. Okay. So what's next? Okay, scorecard is very good, yeah, and maybe we need to discuss based on this discussion. But first, I and Ito-san and myself are advisor in the advisory committee to the healthcare kind of strategy and the global health. So we really want to propose this, and also maybe we want to propose to a cabinet office people or whoever. If possible, just take up this, common vision up to the TICAD things. No need for government to be fully responsible, but we need government support, AU support, and other support. So, but this time we had a very, very solid consultation, inviting all kind of partners. African CDC, African Medicine Agency, and many, partners. So we really want to continue this kind of a forum, and we have to divide these 5, the scorecards. So we need to have a much more concrete platform like data things and the NCD, especially non-communicable diseases. We have many good partners, but not well involved in this global things. So we need to invite them. And we have very good young people like Professor Nomura, Shuhei, and several others. So I want to delegate them to do a lot of good, great work. And please support that. And also in this, involvement of business, this is very critical. And as Amit said, matching is also very, very critical. So I want to get your support, Amit, and also we need to involve Japan, the medicine, the association, and others, led by the Sawada-san. So after this, I will ask and also appoint or delegate. And please, in this, the floor, there are many important persons from JICA and others. So also, please volunteer to be involved and work for that one. Okay, Makimoto-san, you cannot escape, right? Yeah. So there are many resourceful persons. So is that okay? So any last word you want? Anyone? Salim. Yes, you are at the center, so. Or Magda? Yeah, okay, Salim and Magda. Yeah, ladies also.
No, I'd like to just say that this document gives us a good set of priorities to think about the next several years and gives us an opportunity to say, here's areas where we can make a difference if we focus. And I think for that reason, I want to thank those who took the time and trouble to prepare this document, to work on it, to consult others on it. Because if we didn't have it, then we'd be having a very generic discussion of, everything is nice to do. But here, what we have in the 5 areas that are clearly outlined as priorities are areas where we can make a real difference. And I want to just use this opportunity to thank everybody for that.
Thank you. Along the same lines, I just wanted to say that we have a vision. There is a proposal for a scorecard, but between the vision and the scorecard, we need a plan. We need to identify the core activities that we are going to do towards achieving the vision so that we can come with a scorecard and then implement. We can't just see this as another document. So concrete actions should be put down, and I think the working group that you are trying to put together should be charged to do a plan, because a failure to plan is a plan to fail, and then we work together towards concrete achievements in the future. Thank you. It has been a pleasure to be here. Congratulations to JCIE, AUDA-NEPAD, and all those involved for this great work. Thank you.
Thank you. You want?
So I would like to conclude by saying that there are already existing programs. So for me, the Africa-Japan Common Vision on Health will be a very important linkage where we want to go, using what we are doing now and marshalling the resources, both financial and human, to achieve this common vision. And I think this is really a very great a platform to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Osamu, just one last thing. I think digital health might be the golden poster. And the way Africa leapfrogged when mobile phone came to allow connection between person to person, if with Japan we can get digital health, I think we will add so many life years and health might change. And I know Japan has got some very good progress and ideas. So I would say the golden poster, might be how much digital health we can overlay on the continent of Africa, and that might change health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, it is a really kind of good example of a win-win situation. We can learn, and also we can get the kind of experience from Africa, and we can also adapt into Japan, and that is why we can also get a win. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for this meeting, and we really need to continue this work. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for lively discussion. The Africa-Japan Common Vision on Health began as an independent initiative, but through the engagement and commitment of the advisors and partners, it has become a shared public good that can benefit a wide range of stakeholders. I would like to once again express my sincere gratitude to all the panelists, advisors, and partners for their invaluable contributions. Now we have come to the end of the event. I would like to invite the representatives of the two co-organizers of the event to make the concluding remarks. First, I would like to invite Professor Keizo Takemi to the stage. He is JCIE Senior Fellow and former Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare. Please take the floor.
Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, I really enjoyed the wonderful talk here among other panelists. Really, Osamu firstly mentioned that now we should have the much more detailed discussions and set up the priority setting. This is very important to talk in a much more concrete manner. And then the plenty of discussions we have. And then I do realize not only the side event, but the other side events in the TICAD9. There are so many plenty of health-related side events are now simultaneously taking place. I do realize that maybe we should consolidate the plenty of these side events under the one umbrella as a part of the TICAD9. And we can call it a kind of Afro-Japan health dialogue. That sort of way of discussion among us must be required for the next time. And then many panelists talk about the role of the politicians. I was a politician, and up to the last July, fortunately, I don't know, but I was defeated the election in July, and I lost my job. But I will never give up. At that time, I officially announced that I am retiring as a parliamentarian, and I will never run again. However, I will never give up my own commitment on the global health. And then, thank you. I would like to talk that many panelists mentioned that now we are entering into the real new stage of the collaboration between Japan and Africa, and say that digitalization, data sciences, but still some sort of a human resources development is required for. And also how we can get the financing scheme for the initial cost, and how we can involve the private sectors in a much more positive manner. I really appreciate that Shionogi, play a very role as a private company, but played the public role. I do realize that how we can more strategically design those framework in which each player can more closely collaborate each other. When we had Prime Minister Abe, he proposed the Asian Health Initiative and also African Health Initiative. But in case of the Asian Health Initiative has going a bit faster. Now, for example, the PMDA has a branch not only in Washington, D.C., but also in Bangkok, and also National Cancer Research Center has a branch in Bangkok next to the PMDA. So you can imagine, now we have two vehicles. One is, harmonization of the regulatory system. The other one is the networking for the clinical trials beyond the national boundary in Asia as a whole. So the clinical trials and harmonization of the regulatory system can be closely connected each other and created the new strategic framework in which the agent, those authorities and the researchers can much more closely collaborate each other. I do realize that we should have the similar type of those scheme for the African Health Initiative. We have already potential partners here as a panelist. And then we can create the next stage for our new type of the collaboration between us, Japan and the African continent. And now, also I really appreciate Osamu Kuni as a head of the working group for this very important, common vision. The outstanding, the Japanese scholar joined this working group and drafted within 3 or 4 months, right? But when I was a health minister last year up to the October. Historically fast, this domestic-oriented bureaucracy of the Ministry of Health and Welfare and Labor, historically fast to publicize global health vision. In the past, this ministry had never had such sort of a global health vision, but now they have. And also, in terms of the human resources, the Japanese government, the Ministry of Health and Welfare and Labor, in collaboration with the Ministry of Economy and the Development, we have a fund for the scholarship. This is a full scholarship for the foreign student to the Japan's the medical school as a college student. And this is a full scholarship for 20 persons in Asia and other countries, of course, including Africa. The first year, we accepted 20 students in the scholarship. In the past, most of those, the Japanese medical school, totally 82 medical schools we have in Japan, has only Japanese students, and they tend to be much more domestic oriented. But once we opened the door through this scholarship for foreign students, the the medical school itself will change its own the basic mandate as an educational system, not only for Japanese, but also for foreign young people to be medical doctors and nurses and dentists and several other the medical suppliers. And that sort of new stage is now starting in Japan as well. Therefore, this is the really good timing for Japan and Africa to start talk how we can utilize the potentiality of the both sides to create much more effective health dialogue under the name of the TICAD9 and TICAD10. I have taken a lesson through the wonderful discussions around here. And now, unfortunate thing is that geopolitical situations. The United States, the government decided to withdraw from the WHO, and The US aid has been already destroyed, and many advanced nations are faced a very serious shortage of the financing on health. Therefore, inevitable for all the countries to be much more independent, and the sustainability and the ownership can be much more important for us. I really hope that under such negative circumstances, we can utilize this as a chance to change and then create much more dynamic partnership between us, Japan, and the countries in the African continent. So I am quite sure that this wonderful discussions in this side event can be the very important, the strategic step for the next health dialogue in the TICAD 10. I'm quite sure that I once again express my deepest appreciation to all the panelists and also the audience around here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Takemi-san. Lastly, I would like to invite our great partner, Ms. Chinwewe Chandimba, to the stage. She's head of the African Medicines Regulatory Harmonization Initiative of AUDA-NEPAD. Please take the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good morning. Yes, it is a distinct honor for me to stand before you on behalf of our AU entities. He's already telling me I have 1 minute left. So I would just like to say thank you for this auspicious occasion. It has been very wonderful to listen to the panel. I think the panel, the chair, you have really been brilliant in giving us a homework on what next. What do we do after this? Does this remain as any other vision? We have quite a number of visions. I know in Africa, colleagues talked about the Abuja, which we adopted 20 years ago, and so many others that we have adopted. But the question is, how are we doing in implementation? The panelists highlighted, I will highlight 5 things that I want to mention. Firstly, building on existing programs. We are not here to create anything new. There has been collaboration, sporadic though. We want to institutionalize it. We want to make it work. As Prof said, we need to be deliberate. How are we going to be innovative in the way that we are going to really make this work and have an impact? Secondly, the issue of being practical and deliberate in the way we will be implementing collaboratively the common vision. It is a common vision, and I would like to highlight the word common. It means it has been jointly developed and it will address common challenges. Therefore, whatever we do, at the back of the mind, the 5 principles should lead us to deliver on common impact. Number 3, issues around measuring progress. Amit, you have given us a homework, a scorecard. Are we going to be able to measure ourselves? Are we going to come back here and talk about problems, visions again? I don't think so. When we come back the next time, we should be talking about the progress that we have made, the impact that we have made. And the progress will not just be measured by data, by research, how much research we have done together. It will be measured by the last part of the vision, where we are saying we are co-creating health security and sustainable development. What impact will this common vision have? What impact will we have on lives and livelihoods? That's what is going to be measured of this group. And lastly, I want to emphasize the issue of innovation and ingenuity. We can't continue doing things the same way and expect different results. If we continue doing the same way the things that we have been doing, we must not expect this vision to have a different impact than what we have had over the years. Therefore, I urge all of us to go out there and implement this differently from what we have been doing to expect different results. So in conclusion, I would like to thank our collaborator, JCIE, we have been innovative actually in developing this common vision. And I'm hoping that this implementation of this common vision is also going to take a similar approach. It's going to be innovative and it's going to be different. It's not going to be like any other vision that we have developed and we have adopted collectively. To all of us, thank you very much for your participation, and I look forward to collaborating with you all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is also past the end of the meeting, so thank you very much for joining this event.